Hello and welcome to this chat. We have with us today Dr. Ajay Sahai, Director General of the Federation of Indian Export Organizations, to help us understand the implications of the reciprocal tariffs and the other actions that were announced by President Donald Trump, uh, and what the impact on India is, and how Indian exporters and the government should respond to this major challenge from the US. Welcome, sir. So, your first reactions in terms of the kind of impact that the tariffs announced by President Trump would have on Indian exports.
In fact, we never expected that such a high tariff will come on India, and therefore, definitely it's a setback. But at the same time, when we are looking into the tariff on some of the competing countries, since the tariff on them are pretty high, we are in a relatively comfortable situation. But we have to see whether this kind of tariff will result in reduction in the demand, because some of the partner countries of the US may go for the retaliation, which is not good sign for the global trade and global economy. But from the perspective of Indian exports, we feel that there is an opportunity coming into India's way. It is not in all the sector, but in most of the sector, we will be gainer. Though of course we will be a loser in some of the sector, because some of our competitors will have a lesser reciprocal tariff than on India, and we have to see how best we can retain the business moving to them.
So, do you see an impact in demand in the US, given that if prices from, say, India, prices on Indian products increase by about 26%, how do you see demand playing out for the consumers? Because that's something that could impact export demand from India.
I totally agree with you. The prices of the product in US will go up. We expect the prices to go up somewhere between 30 to 40%. We have to see what kind of income tax cut is announced by the US government for its resident. We expect the substantial cut to happen so that they have greater purchasing power. Otherwise, absorbing such high costs may not be possible for them. So it's a very challenging situation. In the short term, definitely it may impact the demand, but then if people have the better purchasing power with the reduction in the tax or in the cut in the tax, probably the situation may normalize after a period of time.
So, based on your feedback with members of FIEO who are exporters, what is the feedback that they are giving you in terms of what happens to the orders in the pipeline? There is some protection available for goods which have not been shipped and or are in high seas. But going forward, what about orders in the pipeline?
There is a different approach by different US buyer. Some of the large companies in the US yesterday or today early morning they have sent messages to all the countries that put all order on hold, and they will be revisiting and informing them, because in the given situation the US company will see what is the landed price of the product from different country after factoring the reciprocal tariff. As I told you that if you are looking into India's reciprocal tariff and see, since we are having lesser tariff as compared to many of competitors like China or Vietnam or Indonesia or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, in many of the sectors like apparel, footwear, gems and jewelry, furnitures, electronics, we will be a gainer. But at the same time, if you are looking into Turkey getting 10% reciprocal tariff as compared to India 26%, in some of the textile sector or in carpet, we may feel the challenge. Similarly, Ecuador having 10% duty may emerge as a bigger competitor for Indian marine sector, as we will subject to 26%. So short point which I am making is that broadly at the macro level we will be a gainer, but of course at the micro level in some of the sector we have to work hard so that the market doesn't move away from us.
And are there some particular sectors uh, where exporters are asking? Are there some particular sectors where importers in the US are asking Indian companies to hold back orders? Something that you just
No,
mentioned.
in, in apparel sector and footwear sectors, since large departmental stores are involved in importing, they have their procurement from different countries, And in some of the cases, they have asked the Indian companies also, and that's not only for the Indian companies, they have asked the companies in Bangladesh and also in Vietnam to hold back the shipment. That's why we feel that in the immediate future, there may be little lack of supply from India or from the rest of the country to the US. But over a period of time, probably when a call is taken, we will see much business moving to India from many of the competitors' countries also.
Does the announcement also put more pressure on the government to expedite the proposed bilateral trade deal, which it is negotiating?
We are thankful to the government because we will have the early mover advantage. India is the only country presently which is engaged with the US for negotiating a bilateral trade agreement. We would be requesting the government to expedite at least at their end. So of course, both sides have to do it quickly, because if we are unable to get a BTA where it provides relief from the reciprocal tariff, we will have huge advantage. And even with some of the countries like Ecuador, or we are talking about Turkey, probably business may move from those countries to India also. So the need of the hour is, in the given situation, if we can expedite the BTA, get a relief from the sectors which are our major exporting sector, probably we will have a win-win situation in this difficult situation as well.
And what would be the other steps that uh, exporters from India, companies from India who are exporting to the US would want till the BTA is finalized? And what kind of reforms should be pushed during this period to ensure that the damage is minimum?
I think we should look into the opportunity which are coming in our way, and accordingly we should look into expanding and modernizing our production base. Because if the business move from, let us say, from Vietnam and China, we should have the capability to fulfill those kind of large orders. At the same time, I think industry should realize that if we have to survive in the market, we have to be quality conscious and put focus on consistency. So industry need to work hard. At the government side, I think the task is very clear. They are working on the BTA, and if they can quickly expedite the BTA, that will be the, I think, the biggest achievement, and probably that may put India's exports on a very fast track so far as US market is concerned. In any case, it's a growing market for India, and is, despite this kind of hiccups, probably in the long term we are going to be a gainer in the entire tariff war.
Do you see some spillover in terms of export demand from other markets? Because those markets would also see their orders getting clogged because of the tariff announcements. So, do you see a spillover impact of President Trump's announcements into for our exports into the European Union or other parts of the world?
Our feeling is that right now he has announced the reciprocal tariff. He has made it very clear that this is just 50% of the actual tariff which could have been imposed. So he is having uh, a very, very aggressive negotiating posture, because the countries who are not coming forward to help the US to bridge the trade deficit, or those reciprocal going for retaliatory tariff, probably he may use in increasing the tariff from 50% to 100%. But at the same time, the countries who are engaged with the US, like India, they have the opportunity to reduce the reciprocal tariff to zero also. So we can see a lot of business moving from other countries to India. That's the short point which we are making. And that's why at a broad level, we are very clear that we are seeing much opportunity in this entire game.
How do you see the export numbers? It's early days, but how do you see the export numbers for the next financial year? Do you see the goods exports being able to reach the same kind of level both to the US and to the world otherwise for India?
I personally feel that global trade and global economy both will take a hit with this kind of tariff war. So, from that perspective, since we are part of the global economy, our exports may also somewhat may be impacted. But much will depend how much diversion of export happens from other countries to India. We feel that in this kind of reciprocal tariff, we have huge advantage, and probably the advantage can be compounded if we are able to get through the BTA very quickly.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time, and it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.